We in the new Black Panther Party have removed that. What we have found, though, is that, for instance, y'all see me right now. We as the new Black Panther Party, we have uniforms, you know, wear them, not wear them, whatever. But this is a paramilitary organization that has a structure dealing with a chain of commands. Bing, bang, boom, boom, boom. You follow me? Based after a military model. Y'all follow that, right? What we find is that a lot of sisters ain't interested in that. Does that make sense to y'all? Can y'all believe that? So we might say we're going to go somewhere and we recruit. We might recruit 50 people. 5 of them be sisters. 45 be brothers. Now, let alone when you get all into the odds of then, you know, who's going to really be consistent and committed and dedicated and whatnot, whatnot. We also find that sisters are more skilled than brothers, 9 times out of 10. How many of y'all can believe that? Yeah. All the sisters was like, yeah, we believe that. No problem. Right? And that's by virtue of the fact of, number one, if you know somebody who's black and unemployed, chances are he's a black man. Most sisters I know got some good jobs. Hospitals, the bank. They ain't never gonna hire no brother at the bank. Never, unless you got one finger. You know what I mean? They're not going for it. So sisters are already predisposed to things like having good working habits, and I've been working since high school. And, you know what I mean? Sisters also, too, kind of based on sexism in society, have a lot of more administrative skills and organizational skills. Maybe it's because a lot of women, you know, came up doing the whole secretarial thing. How many offices do y'all know that has a male secretary? You right? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times these sisters are the ones who are proficient. Oh, who can type in here? Oh, me. And it'd be sisters. Oh, who knows how to use Word? Me. Who knows how to use PowerPoint? Me. Who knows how to send a fax? Me. Who knows how to file alphabetically? Me. You know what I mean? It's all these types of things. Yeah, brothers was like, you know how to file alphabetically. But I'm saying that to say, right, that we have really scienced out and looked at some of the problems that happened before and really strove to correct these in ours now. Because, first of all, another one of the things that we kind of got rid of, how many of y'all know the term Afrocentric or Afrocentricity? How many of y'all know where it came from? Somebody say the name. Ah! Oh. That's the brother that came up with the term. He wrote a book. Afrocentricity, I believe, was the book. And of course, Afrocentricity is something that has, you know, already been going on. It just means to basically be Afrocentric, centered, you know, African centered. So you can have Afrocentric curriculum, Afrocentric style dress. You can have an Afrocentric whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever, whatever. So the original Black Panther Party was not really Afrocentric. Now, people will be like, oh, what do you mean? Because they was, you know what I'm saying, we all used to this whole image of the original Panther Party, right? But not Afrocentric in their appearance or whatever, but a couple of things. When it came time for the original Black Panther Party to get their doctrine, their ideology, their theology, right, to move forward, they strayed dramatically away from what is commonly Afrocentric thought. So, for instance, do y'all know who, you know, where they got a lot of the philosophy from the original Black Panther Party? You know some name? Like Marx, Karl Marx, you heard him? Right? So you got like stuff like Karl Marx, right? Lenin and Stalin and Chairman Mao and all this type of stuff or whatever, right? Where, obviously, you know, we're not idiots in this room, so lessons can be learned from, you know, a variety of sources, obviously. You get a lesson from a comic book. You can get a lesson from anything. So it's fine that they did that, but it also just makes a statement. Kind of like the black person who, when you ask who their favorite author is, they tell you, what's the dude's name? Stephen King. There ain't nothing wrong with Stephen King, right? Good author. But it just says something about a black person that in the wide range of authors to choose from, and all the thousands of books that's been written, and all the recorded time, they would say Stephen King or John Grisham. I mean, forget about Langston Hughes. right? Forget about Richard Wright. Forget about Ralph Ellison. Or it's the same statement that is made when a rapper, some young brother from Brooklyn with gold teethuses, right? Young hardcore brother, and you say, what's your name? And he says, John Dillinger. Why you want to be named after some old white, crinkly, from the 1800s, you know what I mean, old gangster, whatever. In all your history, in all of the people, the big spectrum and people that you could have chose to be from, you want to be John Dillinger. You want to be John Guy. You want to be Al Capone. You want to be anybody but yourself, right? So, not that there's anything wrong with that per se, because I'm a big fan of you do what you want to do. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to do what I want to do too. So, you know, whatever, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, it just makes a certain statement. So for the original Black Panther Party, in choosing where they got a lot of their political ideology from, to me, I'll just use me, to me, and others who happen to agree, thought that it was a little bit odd to be dealing with Karl Marx and socialism, because how many of y'all know that socialism is not, you know, that's not for black people. You know that, right? I mean, we had a type of socialism, right, in Africa, but it was more like a communal, co-op type of, as long as I got corn, you got corn type of thing. You see what I'm saying? But we can see now, how many of y'all, as students of, let's say, socialism or communism, right, can see, like, where this has worked on the planet? Like, did it work in Russia? No. Because the bottom line, at some point, Ivan Kletsky, right, he got to wait in line for potatoes. But the premier don't. You see what I'm saying? That's not communism. That's not socialism. That's hierarchy. That's America. You know what I mean? That's whatever. You could die, damn you, but the president, he gonna be secure. Right? So the new Black Panther Party removed dealing with a lot of the, let's just say, un-Afrocentric philosophy. And we said, well, if we're going to base our struggle for liberation, if we're going to base our movement for liberation and our movement to move black people forward on something, then it should be based on the wealth of Afrocentric knowledge that we have. So I'm going to just throw some names up here, and it'll be on this book list that I got, right? But we started to base our things off of people like this. How many of y'all know that? What's the first two? How? Sheikh Anta. Stuff like that. I mean, how can I overlook that? How can I overlook a man like that's contributions and sneeze at that to not then incorporate that into what I'm striving to do now? Y'all follow what I'm saying? How many of y'all know about... You see what I'm saying? You would be a fool. You would be a fool to overlook that, to try to do something today, right? And to just put these people on the scrap heap. Right? You want to know that. You want to know that. You want to incorporate that, right? How many of y'all know Chancellor Williams, right? G.M. James, all these names that we have, I mean, from our history, of our philosophers, and not just, you know, folks like Diop and Clark, they were heavily focused on, you know, history, you know, that's based on, you know, anthropological research and archaeological data, right? Because they deal with artifacts. This was dug up here. Ivan Van Sertima. We know that the black people came. Y'all know that name? We know that black people were here before Columbus because we can go here and we can see the Toltec statue. Woo, 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 woo. So while this is good, that's history, right? But also philosophy and beginning to understand our own condition. How many of y'all sisters? Know that? What's that? Frances Cress Welsing. Y'all heard of her? The ISIS Papers. Okay? What Frances Cress Welsing is she's not a historian, an anthropologist, although, you know, there's a certain degree of what she does deal with that. She's a psychologist. Right? So there's a difference now. There's a difference between me being a historian and telling you you're great because I dug this up and this is the first coffee and it was found at the feet of the pyramids, right? That's one way where you can establish your greatness by actually connecting it to an artifact. Here's a woman that says, I want to introduce you to your greatness by by getting into your minds and unraveling the lie that you were told and believed that said that you weren't great. You understand what I'm saying? It's one thing to be an engineer, correct? Y'all understand the principle of engineering, right? We're going to make something, we engineer it. But then there's a whole other science to reverse engineering. To being given something first and now saying, decombobulate it. You see what I'm saying? So this is what this sister was doing here. She's dealing with the psychological implications. And not only does she deal with what it is about us that we have swallowed and believed to get into this wretched, putrid, dead, sick state that we are in now that has us hating each other, killing each other, so on and so forth. But also, too, into the psychology of what kind of people would come upon a civilization, right? See it and be like, let's kill this. You see what I'm saying? That's a special person. That's a special kind of person. It's the same thing where y'all see all the time in the newspapers, you see a murder, right? Murders happen all the time, right? Look, me and this brother got into a fight because, you know, that my girl, you try to talk to me, bye-bye. Fight, moment, anger, emotion, moment of passion, whatever. You was coming home to your woman's house, you see somebody jump out the back window. Moment of passion. Murders happen, right? So that's one way a murder can happen. It's like if there's such a thing to say as that's a regular murder, right? Regular. You can see it, it's messed up, but you can understand it. Or you got the murder where he cuts off the fingers, he takes the fingers, he sticks one in the ear, and he bites off the bottom lip, and he puts an X scratch on the side of the face. That's a strange murder. You see what I'm saying? Both crimes, both wrong, right? But some people will just do it regular, and some people will go real extra with it. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So now, for instance, when dealing with these histories, right? African people, I mean, has there been wrong in our history? Most assuredly. There's wrong in everybody's history. But when you get down to it and talking about the Francis Cress Wilson psychology is, there is something different about one particular person on this planet because you will never, y'all been to high school and college, make a chart, make a graph. You will never ever find anyone who will compare to one particular people on this planet when it comes down to inhumanity, man's inhumanity to man. Correct? Does every people have some blood on their hands? We could all just say yes. Every people has some blood on their hands, correct? But there are some people who have more blood on their hands than others, correct? Correct? Let's give an example. Did Africans practice slavery? Sure. Sure, Africans practice slavery. I might kill you, and now because I killed you, right? Let's say that I'm going to now take care of your wife and your kids. Because I recognize them by me killing you, I've crippled their family unit a little bit. So now when I kill you, your family becomes my responsibility too. Right? Let's say you owe me some money. You can slave for me. See how much you owe me, about 5 G's, that's about 5 years. We'll work that off. But now, while you slaving for me, I'm not beating you. I'm not raping your mother in front of your face. I'm not taking your kids over here and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So we do understand that there are different degrees of different things that have been done, correct? Even though it's the same thing. Because obviously we know that when the European manifested slavery, it was slightly different than some of those things I just explained, correct? Slightly, huh? Right? Okay. So, the new Black Panther Party has removed and dealt with what we term as the past attitudes of sexism, right? We have now incorporated what we think was an oversight before of a move towards Afrocentricity and using our own information to begin to be able to define us, right? Another thing that we've knocked out is, I mean, y'all know about the problems with the violence and the drugs, right? So on some levels, back in the day, the original Panther Party was dealing with a lot of issues that was like some gang stuff. The Chicago Panthers ain't like the New York Panthers, and woo, woo, woo. Next thing you know, blah, blah. Right? a lot of drugs, a lot of cocaine, a lot of heroin, right? And then too, celebrity status. Let's think about that. You the Black Panther Party, then you start blowing up. Now you also the man, right? So now, you know, now Bo Derek wants to get at you at that time. You know what I mean? So brothers might say, oh, okay, we'll make a little slide. Now they start getting into little relationships or business relationships. Hey, you know, you'd be great for a movie. How many of y'all have seen how these activists or certain rappers started off so pissed off, so angry at the world, so ready for change, but after, you know, you get a little $20 million movie deal, you're just not as upset anymore, right? If you get an opportunity to be a professor emeritus at a privileged institution, right? That's look at what is left. If you are in the original Black Panther Party, right? You are either dead, you are in jail right now, and ain't none of them other cats talking to you, or believe that. Or you like a professor or something, and you driving a Benz. And every now and again, you might show up on some little cute, little quaint show, like Russell Simmons something, and be like, yes, well, I was in the 1970s. I want to tell you. I remember those days. And that's all it has become. You become a museum curator of the Museum of Revolution. Right? So, New Black Panther Party has cut out those types of relationships, those types of things that then force you to sway your opinion. Oh, thank you, Lord. Beautiful example. How many of y'all have heard somebody say, I want to change this organization, so I'm going to join it? Right? You gotta, in order to change something, you got to join it. You got to work from the inside, right? That's what black people said about politics. That's what black people said about the police. That's what black people said about these institutions of so-called learning. Has it changed, y'all? No. All we did, if anything, was we exposed our little hand to let that man get his hustle tighter to lock us down tighter, right? We know that now. Maybe some of y'all don't know. Y'all remember this past election going on, Kerry and Bush, all of a sudden, they was all on campus. I came up here and listened to a friend of mine, Chuck D, come up here and talk like I have never heard him talk before. I gotta say that. How many of y'all was here when Chuck D spoke? See, I can't deal with that crap. I can't deal with this whole, yo, I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I refuse to do it. Some cats can do that. All right? So now we are here to say something like Kerry or Bush during the voting thing. Vote and die. Russell Simmons and them. Everybody was all up on this, right? Yo, now, election come and gone. How do y'all feel? Any different? Y'all feel any different? What, you feel worse? See, I don't feel nothing. See, there was drugs on my corner during Reagan, Carter, Clinton, Bush 1, Bush 2. It don't matter, man. It don't matter. Black people was getting killed by the police under Reagan, Carter.